So we want to look at some of the biggest power drainers for men. And one of them is just draining activities. Some things just drain us because they're just not natural for us. It's just not something you enjoy doing. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to do everything you enjoy, that that's all you get to do. Sometimes as men, we just got to embrace the suck. Some things are just going to suck. Some things are going to just be things we don't like. We got to do it. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Every man gets that. Every man has those things. Sometimes as men, we need to ask ourselves the question, do I need to do this? Is this something I need to do? I heard a story one time from a guy who he ran a company and the company was growing and doing all these things. But one of the things he did is every weekend he would spend hours in his yard, working in his yard and doing it. And yeah, he kind of enjoyed it. He liked having a good looking yard, but he started thinking about, is this really the best use of my time? Because I could be mowing my grass or I could be creating something that could sell for millions of dollars. And when he started thinking about it that way, he started paying someone to do his lawn because he said it was worth it to him to pay them because it was less than if he got an idea for something for his company that made a lot of money. And that's what we have to do as men is really think about, okay, some stuff we're just going to have to do. We embrace the suck. But some stuff we may have some choice. We may have some agency. And so we have to think, do I need to be doing this? Or is somebody better at this than me? Or is there a different way to do it? The other thing you can do is say, how can I make a better choice in this time? And now one of the things I talk about with this is habit stacking. And that's where you maybe have to do something you don't like that kind of drains you, but you put something on top of it where that kind of builds you up, like listening to books or podcasts while you're doing something that you don't necessarily enjoy. My son talks about how he watches anime while he's cleaning the kitchen. He puts the two together because nobody really enjoys cleaning the kitchen. But he and his wife had this worked out. She's an incredible cook. So she cooks and he says, I'll clean. So what he's done is he started making that his anime time each night, where he will watch an anime show while he's cleaning. And he's worked out how to do it. He puts the computer at a certain place. So he kind of looks forward to cleaning the kitchen, not because he enjoys cleaning the kitchen, but because he habit stacked, and that's when he gets to watch his anime. And you can find creative things to do that. Find a draining activity that maybe you've got to do, but what can you do to make it where it's not so draining? You know, you can either stop it, but if you can't stop it, find a way to make it better. Another thing that drains us is relationships. We talked earlier about influences and how some people can just suck the power out of you. And I think everybody should continually do relationship inventories. You need to say, okay, what type of relationship am I in with this person? And I'm not talking about like deep, marriage, things like that. And those are part of it, but also just your friendships, who you hang around. We want to have relationships that are healthy, and healthy relationships have give and take. They just do. Now, some relationships you may have a little bit more give. Some relationships you may have a little bit more take. And sometimes it varies within a relationship, like a marriage. There are times when maybe the husband gives more than the wife, times when the wife may give more than the husband. That's normal in a relationship. You just want to make sure you're not overloaded with relationships where all you do is give. Everybody's taking from you and all you're doing is giving, and no one's pouring into you. No one's building you up. You want to limit those relationships. What you want to do as a man is find men that you can connect with where both of you can help each other. That's the healthy way to have friendship. That's a healthy relationship. You don't want those relationships where they just call you when they need something all the time. Now, friends will do that, but you want to make sure that they're there for you when you need them. Now, another thing that drains men's power is unhealthy diversions. Now, not all diversions are bad. Sometimes we need it. All of us have maybe our favorite movie we like to watch, our favorite hobby we like to do, all of those things. Those are fine. Like for me, one of my favorite things is Crunchyroll. I like watching anime. So I like sitting down and watching anime. In fact, yesterday I was watching the last season of My Hero Academia. I was crying. It was awesome. It was powerful. It was emotional. I loved it. Okay. But what we want to do is make sure our diversions don't move from a healthy diversion to an unhealthy diversion. Anything can be fine, but anything can move to an unhealthy side. Like if you have a hobby, that's great. But if that hobby begins to take more and more of your time, if maybe what you watch, like for me, if I start just binge watching every anime that's out there, that becomes unhealthy. If I move into gaming and start gaming all the time, that can become unhealthy. You don't want what could be a healthy diversion to become unhealthy. And there are some things that can just be unhealthy, like gambling. You can get into that where it just takes away a lot of your time, a lot of your money. A lot of guys struggle with porn today, and it's an unhealthy diversion in and of itself. Drinking is one of those things some guys can do, but for a lot of guys, it's very unhealthy. It takes them to a very negative place. So what we want to do is find those diversions that aren't bad, that we don't have to feel guilty about, but also they don't overtake us. They don't pull us away from things. Now, guys, we're competitive. And that's, again, if you have a hobby, like if you enjoy golf, that's great. But if your quest is to be the best golfer, you want to be a scratch golfer, well, if you have the time and if you don't have many other relationships, you can focus on that. But if you have a wife, if you have children, you're not going to be a great golfer. You're not going to get to spend every day at the range and every day doing those things. And you got to understand that. And on the unhealthy side, there are diversions we just need to stay away from. A lot of guys, when they struggle with addictions, it's not the addiction itself. The addiction is a sign of other things that are going on in their life. Those are the things they need to deal with. And so what men have to do is look at those honestly, because every one of those things will drain power from your life. It'll keep you from living your best life. So we've got to keep an eye on those things that drain our power. You can do all the building you want. You can build up your power all you want. But if you don't stop the drains, they're eventually going to take all your power away.